Hey, on this episode of SAMP&CHANCE Wrestling, guys, we are officially on the road to WrestleMania, and the road looks like it's already got a bump in it. Gotta listen to the show to find out. Also, we've waited for a little bit, but we're finally ready to talk about Vince McMahon and all the allegations said against him. So if you want to find out what happened on Raw, what this bump is, and what's going down with Vince, you gotta listen to the show. SAMP&CHANCE, here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of SAMP&CHANCE. I am your host, Bobby Sampson, joined with my man with the master plan, Mr. Chance. Michaels, Chance, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
I can't complain, man. Raw's in the books. The road to WrestleMania has officially started. The first stop was in Tampa Bay. Already the road has occurred some serious bumps along the way, man. I think it changes WrestleMania. Let's get
Your
into it.
dog's on the camera. Tell everybody the name of your dog. It's right behind you. He's checking you out, or she out.
Mabel, yeah. You know what? Mabel usually doesn't
Good
really
dog.
do this is the first time she was scratching at the
I've
door.
never seen her. I've never ever seen her.
She, like I said, man, this is the first time. I don't know what it means, or maybe I'm just her favorite for the moment. But she was,
Welcome to the show.
dude, yeah. Well, welcome, Mabel. I have a guest appearance by Miss Mabel. Um, I didn't even notice. I completely forgot about her.
It's all
Um,
good.
so yeah, like I was saying, sorry. The road to WrestleMania has begun. We start Raw with CM Punk coming out, 48 hours removed, tore his tricep. He's out. He's out of WrestleMania. Not at work either, man. This is
He looked bad in the ring. I was saying that, in the road, he didn't look good. So, and even if I don't know when he tore the tricep, what part he was only in there for about 5-10 minutes. So I'm not sure, but he's just, and I hate to dump on the guy because I actually thought he cut a good promo tonight, but he's definitely a shell of his former self. He's not taking care of his body. He's not dieting properly. I'm not saying that contributed to his tricep injury, but I think it's a good thing that he's not at WrestleMania. Give some of the younger talent a chance, get a push. Maybe Drew, Gunther get a spot. But I thought he cut a good promo. And I've never heard him be so honest before. He talked about Chad Gilbert, the guy with cancer. It's a sad situation. He talked about how he failed at UFC. He was very vulnerable but very honest. And you bring Drew out, and I thought, oh my God, Drew's gonna come out there and say, I love you, bro, I'm sorry. And then Drew did the ultimate heel. He's like, I prayed for this. He stomped on his arm. Man, that was beautiful. Drew McIntyre right now is on fire. That was a great piece of work, a great way to kick off Raw. And my hats off to both those guys. I thought it was a stellar opening segment. You?
Yeah, I had no problem with it. And it was a bit of an emotional night. Well, I'll get into that a little later. Remind me when we get to Cody. It looked like Punk, like you said, he was really speaking like this was more of a shoot promo.
That wasn't fake. That was legit. Yeah.
Legit, like his eyes welled up, and he really put emphasis on the fact that, yeah, it sucks, right? This is what I came back for, but there's more to this than just wrestling. There's life,
I like that.
and it's a true indication of there are worse things happening to people in this world. And I love that. I really did.
It was great. It was great.
And that really showed a side of Punk that we have not seen before. So I thought that was really good.
I got a good idea, and I was thinking about it when I listened to him talk. Why not keep him relevant? He's out 6 months, so he'll be back. Let's say SummerSlam. Why not put him on one of the commentating teams? Why not get him out there, keep him relevant, keep him going? He can sit there, join Raw or SmackDown, and add his 2 cents and keep him vibrant. I don't think they will, but that's what I would do.
I think he would do a great job on commentary. He's well spoken. I mean, he knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's an option. Let's see what they do. First thing, let's get it all repaired. Get through the emotion and whatnot. I mean,
regardless, the most unluckiest guy in the world, fired from AEW, you sign a big deal, and boom, you get hurt your first time on TV.
That's so, man. The same thing kind of happened to him when he went to AEW. He blew out his knee, and he was out for a little bit there as well. So
you could tell his knee was bothering too in the Rumble. He wasn't walking straight. He was hunched over.
A lot of inactivity, and that really shows. I mean, again, that happened to The Rock. I granted it was a kind of different injury, but when he fought Cena the second time, he injured himself again. That inactivity, you can train and train and train, right? But I mean, you're still susceptible to injuries because your body can't contort. Like when you're in that controlled environment of training, it's a different story. But when you're
when you're live, you push it. Yeah.
you're pushing it. These things are going to happen. That's why you got to get matches under your belt. As before we get on to that, that just kind of reminds me of Jade Cargill right now. The biggest problem with her, this is what I'm hearing from backstage, is that basically that she needs to put more time in. She forgets shit, right? Because she
Yeah,
comes
she
in,
can't remember what's going to happen. Well, then you know what? Just call it in the ring. Then you don't need to remember anything. Call it as you go.
right. But this is the problem. She doesn't have, like, for some reason or the other, the knock on her is she doesn't remember spots in general.
Yeah, I know. It's too bad.
Most of her stuff is so quick and she's so dominant that she's never really had to work. This is the delay in her being, front and center is because of this. So, she needs to do
Keep her
more.
matches short till she gets it down, and just do a lot of training in the center. And
If she wants a WrestleMania moment, if she wants to be on the WrestleMania card, in my opinion, and I'm not there, you're not there, but in my
yeah,
opinion, what needs to be done is she needs to get on the road. She needs to do some house shows. She needs a natty, right?
yeah,
Honestly, right now, she needs Natty. Natty would be the one she'd work with, get her on the road, get some matches under her belt, build her up, man. That's the only way it's going to happen.
yeah.
That's the same thing they did with Ronda. And, I think that's what she needs right now. I mean, she looked great. I have no
Looks
problem.
great, moves great.
Moves great, but she needs to learn the business. And this is
Yeah,
where, again, I'm not knocking AEW, but this is the stark difference of being in AEW compared to being in the WWE.
absolutely. Night
No,
and day.
even the mid card guys that go over from WWE over to AEW don't need any extra training. In fact, they're teaching them.
Yeah, they've got such what WWE trains wrestlers the best. They got some of the best trainers in the world.
Yeah. So back to Raw. First hour is completely free. Is that lack of sponsorship because of Vince? I don't know.
No, I think it's something special after. Yeah, but it's kind of nice that way.
I know. I just wanted to throw that out
No,
there.
I know.
So we start off with DIY versus the Judgment Day. Now, this is a funny thing about Judgment Day. Like, I know you always harp on them, but for the
Yeah,
first something clicked that you've been saying and saying and saying. I'm always trying to find the positive, and I still think they're fun to watch. But it occurred to me that every week they start off the show saying how they have to show everyone how dominant they are. People are forgetting. So shit, man. Like people forget within 6 days of how dominant you are because that's how they have to start the
yeah.
show.
Why do you have to keep reminding us? Just do it.
Fair enough. I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, so we get the match. Pretty solid match. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a good match.
Watching these guys work, even Damian looked good. I think the only knock I had on the match was Damian's ring gear. It looked like he was wearing a woman's top.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that.
It just looked weird. It looked like he had a steering wheel in the middle of his chest. I don't know why I focused on that, but for me, that was my takeaway. Like the match itself was a lot of fun.
I dump on DIY a lot. I got to give them credit for a couple things. Number one, I like how they wear the same colored gear. You don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Very rare. So they look good as far as a team, and they do some good moves. They're very cohesive. They work well. They work better together than Priest and Balor do as far as a tag team and cohesiveness. I noticed they had some real cool moves, and they're working their butts off. They know that the little guys are trying to get back up the card a bit, and they worked their butts off, and it was a very good match.
The chemistry.
Now, one knock is on the whole Raw. Pat McAfee, I thought, stunk to show up. He flubbed it. He told you that Michael Cole's the greatest of all time, and then he told you that Judgment Day is the greatest. Everybody's the greatest of all time to this guy. He's so over the top, and I'm not a big fan of having him there all the time, to be honest. I'd rather have Wade Barrett out there.
Okay, so speaking on that, both Wade Barrett and Kevin Kelly have been replaced. They're both off now.
So where's Corey Graves? Is he going to SmackDown?
Well, Corey Graves is already on SmackDown, so Michael Cole's doing double duty again, where he's going back and forth.
We can't have Michael Cole doing double duty. We got somebody else.
They don't have anyone right now, man. Honestly, because they let go of Kevin Patrick.
Yeah, he's not great, but you got to give him some time.
There was not much fanfare about it at all. And then Wade Barrett, unless he's away or something, maybe Wade's going to go over to SmackDown.
No, because they said McAfee's a new Raw guy for a while.
So maybe Wade's going to go over to SmackDown and take over there then for him. And so it'd be Graves and Barrett on SmackDown, and you'd have Cole and
who would you say on SmackDown? Barrett and who?
Barrett and Graves, Corey Graves.
But Corey Graves can't be the play-by-play though.
No, but it would probably you can. You could probably do it.
I don't think so. He's more of a broadcast journalist. Who's going to call SmackDown then? Cole's going to do double duty still.
Then Michael Cole double duty until
they figure
out, man. That or
Call up Mike Tenay, man. Call up Mike Tenay and get him out of retirement.
they bring up Vic Joseph from NXT. He's the only other guy.
You know what? I'm not saying Kevin Patrick was great, but give him a little bit of time. Let him get his groove. It takes time.
It does take time, but these guys make
He does better than McAfee does. And McAfee's got the star appeal. I get all that, but like he's more rehearsed. He's more researched. McAfee doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Well, I mean, McAfee's only been back for a couple shows, so let's
No,
see
I
what.
know, but you should become researched and prepared, dude. He doesn't even know what he's saying half the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so very quickly, Judgment Day wins the match. I'm just going off the top of my dome here, brother.
Yeah,
A coup de grace and a razor's edge on Gargano to finish the match. Or no, sorry, on Tommaso Ciampa to
yeah,
finish the match. So solid match, good start
good
to Raw.
match. Raw started out really good tonight.
Opening. This first hour was great, and you know what? I even enjoyed the Chelsea and Piper against Shayna and what's her partner's name?
Starks.
Starks. Zoe Starks.
Yeah. That was good too.
Even that was fun, right? And I'll be honest, man, I like what they're doing with Chelsea here. This unsure kind of character, and kind of moving out of the way, but still be looking good and doing it. Like she looks really fluid.
Very, very talented.
Right? She's a lot of fun to watch, and I'm glad that she's getting this opportunity now, because every time she's tried, she's gotten injured in some way. So good on her.
True.
And yeah, so that was very quick. Shayna and Zoe won that match. Then we get into the Cody promo. Now, as we talked about Punk earlier, being emotional, Cody was very emotional in this promo as well from the beginning, anyways, saying that we create this program and this entertainment for 2 to 3 hours a week, so you guys can get away and escape whatever it is that you're dealing with. And that's the case for a lot of people who watch wrestling. It's an escape, right?
Absolutely.
From issues and problems. It's a few hours that you can actually forget about things and just enjoy,
laugh and joke. Yeah.
Joke, right? He was real here for a moment when he said that, this weekend I really needed you guys. And you could tell he was on the verge of tears. I don't know what that's about. I don't understand it fully, but that was something that I took away again. Like, both these two guys were very emotional.
I can understand the Punk thing. He's hurt. He wants a WrestleMania spot. Punk will probably never ever headline WrestleMania, man. He's gonna be 47 next year, so maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I'm not sure what Rhodes is crying about. I get it's emotional. He won the Rumble, but like,
I think it's just the whole journey, everything with his dad. The constant. This is one man. He was constantly reminded of his father, even to this day.
well, he always says Dusty's kid. Dusty's
Yeah.
larger than life, right?
No. But I'm sure he gets it. I'm sure he gets it as well. But again, I can understand that emotion that he's showing. That like, you feed off the fans as well. Maybe you don't have
Yeah.
maybe you're not feeling up to par.
I hate to be say this, and there's nothing wrong with men crying, and I'm not trying to be an alpha male and be a jerk, but how many men can you have on Raw cry to start the first hour of the show? And I get it, the CM Punk thing, and then you got Cody out there crying. Wasn't it last week Seth was crying? Like, it's just like, wow.
It is what it is, but I think that's what they're trying to bring to it, is a bit of that sense of reality as well. So who knows, man? Like I said, I picked up on it because it just seemed out of, just out of nowhere. The Punk one I can understand. Like,
Punk one I get 100%.
like I can understand that emotion, like considering, oh shit, this close.
This
And
close to headlining being in the main event, he's not getting it.
right. And to be honest, maybe they knew this injury was gonna happen, or they knew about this injury when it happened there. And maybe that's why Cody went over. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Who knows?
Right? You know what I mean? Like, maybe it was Punk's to win, but once he realized he had done something, he said, "Look, something's wrong."
They changed on the fly. Yeah, it's possible.
They changed it on the fly and gave it to him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who?
Said set to the referee whispers it, and away you go.
So Cody comes out, he cuts his promo, he talks about everything, the Royal Rumble, his emotions and everything. He's about to make it official, and Seth's music hits, and Seth comes up. So Seth comes out, and this is the first time, I think, in the history of the Royal Rumble winner where the champion actually came out to sell his case to him, to pick him. Have you ever seen that before?
Not that I can remember offhand. I never thought of it that way, but you got a good point. And yeah, it's probably going to be Cody and Seth now, and then Rock and Reigns, right? I'm assuming. I don't know.
This is one way to get there, right? I mean, they were talking about Rock or Roman doing double duty at Mania. There's so many possibilities, but this makes the most sense based on the storyline trajectory, based on the character development that both these guys kind of work off of, based on what that title actually, the World Heavyweight title does represent. It is the working man's title. It's the grinder's title, right? I mean, that's basically what these two guys are. So he makes valid
Yeah,
points. If you want to go for the Hollywood title where the guy's never ever here to defend it, isn't this the one that would mean more, sort of a deal? So I get all of that, right? I thought it was really good. He lays it out for him. He basically told him that Cody's not the man. He tells him that
I
Reigns,
agree with that 100%. I hate to say it, but yeah,
I'm the man. I mean, I'm the one who's, since I've won this thing, he's defended it more in the entire time. He's had more title defenses than Roman has in the entire time he's held the other title, right? And
yep,
I Roman is, and I know what they're doing with. I'm not complaining about it. That works for him, right? But Seth is that kind of guy. The title, the world heavyweight title, is the title that he should be going for, in my opinion, and it totally makes sense. But let's
yeah,
see. You're gonna think about it, but I think this is where we're gonna go with this. Um, Another great promo. I thought it was good. I thought the
it was
interaction,
good.
it was really, really, like, those guys worked really well together. So I have no problem with that.
They got
Next,
good chemistry, absolutely.
yeah, next match, Jay versus Bronson Reed, a match that we haven't seen before. When I was watching this match, it was pretty basic formulation. The big man got his stuff in. He can really move really well, but at the end,
It's
Jay
impressive.
frog splash and gets the victory. I almost felt that maybe it would have been better if Bronson won this match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess you can go either way. I didn't really have a problem with it, but
I don't
I
know
know what
where,
you're saying.
and I don't really know where Bronson's going per se, but I don't think I have a problem with Bronson taking this one. It wouldn't hurt Jay if he lost.
No, no, it
Hey,
wouldn't have bothered him.
second, I think someone
They're
wants to
trying to keep the bloodline and like all the Uso guys. They're trying to keep them strong.
right out. 1 second, I got to get the dog out of here.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Go. Thank you for hanging out. Bye-bye. Sorry about that.
You know, the one thing I noticed about Raw, the first 2 hours, there's only 3 matches, a lot of talking, a lot of promos. I thought they could have maybe done one less promo, cut the promo time down, and got another match in. But it's one thing I did observe: three
Well,
matches in 2 hours.
the first hour, yeah, well, Cody came out at 6, right? So the first hour we got DUI, we got Chelsea Green, then you had the Cody, and then yeah, you're right. And then we
Yeah.
had yeah, no, you're pretty much on
So
money.
what I'm saying is don't get me wrong, the Punk stuff is good, the Cody stuff is good. Maybe shorten them down a little bit, throw another match out there, keep it flowing.
I think we would have probably had another match, but they kept cutting to the Royal Rumble promos. They had a lot
Doing
of
all that, yeah,
segmented that every 15, 20 minutes it was a Royal Rumble recap, of something
yeah.
like that. So a lot of time taken up there. We go backstage. Adam Pierce is with Andrade, your new favorite. These guys are
Two guys I don't think should be there personally. I don't think Adam Pearce has any personality at all.
I don't like Adam Pierce, man. I like him.
I just don't understand. Can you name like honestly a Raw manager that's had at least like a less personality than Adam Pearce that you can think of off your head that we've had?
Yeah, the computer.
Maybe the computer, but man, I don't understand what they see in this guy. It's not entertaining at all. That's just my take on him. They must obviously like him.
You know what? He's doing a good job. I don't have a problem with him. I like his new little kind of thing that he's trying to get popular now. I need a drink. That's just kind of catch tag.
Yeah, but he's just not like he's not a, just not. I don't find him as entertaining. I just find him he's bland. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of like a Lance Storm, Dean Malenko. Like, just don't find him. This is me.
See, maybe he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, can't take that away from him. I mean, he's kind of outlasted a lot of them, right? So
Speaking of that, I had to bring this up, and I know he's not on Raw. And I was thinking about this after the last SmackDown. One guy, it's going to be controversial. He's been around too long, and I think his act is wearing very, very thin, and that's Paul Heyman. And the reason why I say that, he's always doing that hand stuff. Now he's adding all these different words, there's all these things. It's the same stick. He's trying to be a heel. He should come out and say, I am a bad guy. I didn't pay my workers in ECW. The checks bounced. I am leeching off you, Roman Reigns. But he just kind of comes there like he's doing all this praying stuff. I think it's becoming really cheesy and corny. And I think it's time for him to take a step back a little bit or break him and Reigns up, because I noticed that in the last, every time I see him, I was just way over the top, and it's coming off as not natural. Too over the top and too contrived, I find. I was meaning to say that last show, but I'm just getting sick of it. It's like Hulk Hogan, like, after a while, Vince said, hey, the red and yellow is not cool anymore. It's too much. You got to go. We got to change it up. This Paul Heyman stuff is a little much. It's me, my take. I was going to say it last show, but I forgot about it.
It doesn't bother me that much, I don't think. Honestly, I can see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things that bother me, Booker T. I hate his commentating. I hate.
No, he's horrible.
Right? So, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not saying Paul Heyman's not an amazing talent. He's great. He's a top, 2 or 3 manager of all time. But I'm thinking after a while, put him on commentating. Like, just do something else with him. Like, it's just a little much.
Yeah. Hey, so I got to rewind a little bit, but we forgot to mention what happened at the end of the Judgment Day fight and the DIY fight. They call out R-Truth. R-Truth comes out and basically beat him up, and they beat up the Miz, and basically that should finalize that deal, and we should get the Awesome Truth back together again officially. There you go.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So JD McDonough, he punches R-Truth between the shoulder blades. A little guy like that drops a big guy like that. The weakest punch you've ever seen right between the shoulder, and R-Truth goes down. At least hit him in the back of the head, hit an elbow, but I thought that was so corny.
Well, at least R-Truth knew what to do with it and sold it properly, and
he did.
And he made it look better than it could have been.
There goes a tag match coming up at Mania, probably Miz and Truth versus the Judgment Day. You can already see that coming.
Now, in my opinion, probably the match of the night, Kofi versus Gunther for the
that was good.
Solid match. This thing went over 3 segments long. Solid back and forth. Gunther showing why he's Gunther, but Kofi also showing why he's still Kofi. Kofi came close many a time, hit many a spots, hard hitting. Gunther was bleeding a little bit from the chops, right? So, I mean, this was a really stiff.
It was very good.
I didn't like the ending though. That powerbomb just kind of came out of nowhere and just kind of clipped.
And he folded him up, and then 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I just expected a little bit more at the ending, but the match itself was solid.
I guess they figured that powerbomb was so lethal because he's such a big, strong guy. You're high up in there, and he folded you like a cheap tent, I guess. But
so long, it almost feels like, I don't know. I just thought it just ended quicker than it could have. I thought they could have ended it a bit more elegantly, a bit more smoother, not just.
I will say right now, I've said it before. Drew has never been one of my favorite guys, but I have to say the last since 6 months or 8 months, right, Drew Kofi. And
Kofi, Gunther. We're talking about Kofi.
No, Kofi's he's whatever to me. But I'm saying Drew and Gunther right now are 2 of my favorites. The way they work. Drew's promo, he's really evil. He's big. He's strong. Like, he's really coming into his own, and I enjoy every time Drew and Gunther are out, whether they're talking or whether they're working. And those guys are amazing together. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they did work together.
Kofi's good too. He can work with anybody.
Well, I mean, that was basically it. Xavier comes out to check on him, make sure he's okay. Out comes the rest of Imperium. Beatdown ensues into the ring post, into the ring steps. That's it. That feud carries on. All right. After that, we had a Sammy interview, and he talks about, having to come back and face the man that put him on the shelf in terms of Drew McIntyre. After that, we got Kabuki Warriors filler match. I like to say, as much as I don't want to say, but it was just a filler match. To be fair, during that match, I came up here and I set up the room for the podcast.
Like I said, every match can't be amazing, right?
Well, no. And I like the Kabuki Warriors, but I just knew what kind of match this was going to be. Straight up, it was Kabuki's. Tegan and Nat got their spots in, but at the end of the day, Kabuki Warriors, remain what they're supposed to be, just that, champions. That's a quick match. Now, this segment was kind of fun because it kind of sets the tone for Elimination Chamber, which they heavily advertised on this program. February 24th, if anyone missed it, from Perth, Australia. It's gonna be huge, man. That's the other reason I thought maybe Bronson should have won, because if they're trying to build up the show, you want all your Aussie guys to kind of have some momentum going in, eh?
I'm not sure if you have, but I've seen the Elimination Chamber live in person. I went there last year in Montreal. It's quite a specimen to see live. It's pretty amazing how they created that, and to think of that. It really hits you when you see it live.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine, man. I'm envious of you. That's one thing you've done that I haven't in terms of wrestling shows.
Hmm.
I wish I could have been there with you guys, but imagine it in a stadium like you guys were in the Bell Center. So what? Maybe
Yeah,
20,000 people.
if that,
Now,
yeah.
now imagine it was 60 to 80,000,
I know it's gonna be insane.
right? Uh,
Grayson Waller's gonna get a
but
huge pop, man.
do you think a crowd of that size in a stadium that size makes the structure look smaller? Like maybe in a hockey arena or a
No,
basketball.
because this thing is massive.
But that's what I mean. It looks even more massive because the stadium itself is smaller, right?
Yeah,
But
that's
when
true.
you
That's
put it
true.
in a huge stadium, like if you put that in Allegiant or something, how big would the structure actually look?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Right? It's still monstrous, don't get me wrong, but
Oh yeah,
in that capacity. All right, Bailey comes out, and we all think she's gonna come out and she's gonna challenge Rhea Ripley. She cuts a great promo. She goes, take a picture. This is,
does
first time that anyone's ever seen this. Tag team champions, world champion, or WWE women's champion, and the
quite
money,
an accomplished group.
right? So, she says, like, I've been telling everybody. And I thought of you when she said this. Yeah, a lot of people are saying I don't look as good as I did since I've come back from
I
injury.
said
And
the
I
last
you,
podcast. Yeah,
right? I'm like, it's shit.
yeah.
She's listening to the show. Um, my only knock on Bailey, she's wearing 49ers gear, and I can't stand for that, man. So,
Yeah, kind of troll everybody in Tampa Bay, I guess.
well, maybe, yeah, who knows? I don't see
Or she's
why.
a 49ers fan, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, she's from there, right? She's
Oh,
from
is
the
she? There you go.
team, right? So I mean, that's her team. But respect, you gotta support your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
She comes out and she's cut off by Rhea halfway through her promo. Rhea says, "Hey, listen, whatever she's about to say," she gets attacked by Nia Jax.
I
It
like
looks,
that.
it looks like it's going to be Nia and her at Elimination Chamber for the title.
Nia and Rhea.
Yeah, Nia and Rhea. Now this is really interesting because she destroyed her, and we haven't seen like you said, they've really made her look good and really
Yeah, they
dominant.
need that. You
She's
need that
done,
big crush, men or women. Like, oh,
and she's done a great job at looking dominant.
yeah.
I give her all the respect in the world for the work that she's done since she's come back.
She moves
Um,
well for a
for a
bigger
big
person.
girl, for a
Yeah,
big
for a
girl,
big girl.
she moves
Yeah, she moves
well.
well.
Let's
Like
call it like
Bronson
it
Reed
is.
and Ivar,
Yeah, yeah. We'll call it like it is. She looks
and she
like
hits hard.
right? So, it was really fun. It was a good promo. She beat the tar out of her, three leg drops, Ogun-esque. I wonder if they have the same effect on her hips as it does on men's hips.
Eventually, yeah, Hogan lost. He was 6'7".
Yeah,
Now he's 6'4". He
women
lost
hips
three
are
inches.
built differently though, right? Because as a
Yeah,
woman, you're built a little differently down there for the passage of birth and whatnot. So I wonder if it's a bit easier on their hips.
I never thought of it that way, but I think you're onto
Neither do I.
something.
These are
Yeah,
random thoughts. Samson's random thoughts, right?
yeah, no, you're probably right. I was hoping that they would have Hogan would have been backstage at Rumble, would have had a little mic moment, a backstage vignette. They were in Florida last 2 days, but they did a little Rumble thing with them. But it would be cool to see him back there.
Possibly. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's still Mania, right?
Yep.
So she beats her up to go big where all the girls are still in the ring. They all leave. Bailey's cornered by Nia. Nia basically tells her, listen, it's probably best that you pick Io to fight at WrestleMania. And I love that camera work. And this is where WWE is amazing. That angle of Io on the ground, like on the floor, looking away, kind of contemplating, oh shit, because Bailey said, hey, you know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll make my decision on Friday. So, who knows? I
Yeah,
still,
no, dude. It's I like Nia Jackson. I'm glad she's gonna get some big matches because you need strong women and strong men too out there, right? It just balances the show.
yeah, yeah. All right. So here we are, main event time. Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. Drew cuts a little promo before he goes out there. And he says, you know what? You've never beat me before. I can count, all the matches we've ever had. You've never beaten me, and you're not going to beat me tonight. Hit my music. Here we go. Hard hitting match. I love how these guys work. And again, Drew
Great
for
match.
a man can move very, very well.
Oh,
Uh,
Drew, I think Claymore's one of my favorite finishers. The way he can like fly in there like that, his
yeah,
size is
yeah.
impressive.
And I thought this ending was really good as well. It worked out really well. Now I'm wondering when Sammy went for the Haleva kick, did he really hurt himself? Because the way he grabbed out his groin,
The way he stretches, it's pretty impressive how he can do that.
Right, but the fact that he went down the way he did and he's grabbing his groin, either he sells very, very
He
well,
does so very well though.
but or did he pull something? Because it looked like, I mean, yeah, we were getting close to the end of the time of the match as well. But he finished him, hit him with the claymore, and this is what I like about Drew. You're right; he doesn't give a care anymore, man. He's
No,
standing
dude,
guy.
that was actually one of my, I think some of Drew's best work tonight was CM Punk. When I thought at first, oh, we're gonna get into this whiny crybaby stuff. Drew's gonna say I love you, bro. And then he's just like, I prayed for this. He just became so evil, stomped his arm, and he just treated him like a piece of crap. And it was great. We did it.
Yeah, well, basically that was Raw, man.
Because what were you thinking when Drew walked down the aisle? He was gonna be like, I love you, bro, next time. I didn't see that coming.
I did well, I didn't see that coming at all.
That's
But
what's good about when they do that.
but I thought he would be a little coy. I thought, just because the heel, but I didn't think he would push it to that limit.
And he shot at him too. He's like, you were a poison in the locker room. Like, I didn't want you back. Like
Yeah.
he let him have it.
No, it was fun. It was good. And you know what? If you're going to develop that kind of character, that's great. And guess what? We have something to look forward to in the future with Punk returning when he returns, right? I mean, he has someone that he can work with, and let's see what they do
Put
with
Punk
that.
on commentating. WWE is very, very weak across the board in commentating.
Yeah,
Usually they're top notch. Right now they're weak. Put Punk on a commentating team. Put Paul Heyman. I know Paul Heyman's doing a story, but put Punk on SmackDown or Raw or SmackDown, I guess, because they announced McAfee. But give him a gig.
no, let's see what that. Let's see what that. All right, guys. That was Raw in a nutshell, man. How are you doing for time?
I'm doing good. Let's get into a little Vinny stuff here.
All right, brother man, let's get into it. So everybody, this past week we had a lot of great things happen in the WWE. The Netflix deal was signed.
Royal
The
Rumble.
Rock was announced that he was going to be on the board now of TKO. That was all on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the other shoe fell. Mr. McMahon, I think it's finally caught up to him, man. He's finally he's removed. He has no place in the WWE
Well, he
anymore.
resigned. Yeah, he resigned. He removed himself. Yeah.
He removed himself. Chance, I read the whole thing today. I actually spent the time reading the whole disposition, all 67 pages of it.
I read it twice yesterday and today.
Right. So I'm reading it and I'm reading it. I'm reading it. And you know what? Look, man, I'm going to say it really honestly. None of what I read is right in terms of treating someone like that.
It's all alleged, though. Nothing's proven.
Pardon?
It's all alleged. Yeah.
Yeah, it's alleged, but whatever is alleged, no one should have to deal with that. No one should have to be treated that way. No one should have to be put in that place of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense to me considering the kind of world we live in today where there are so many resources and outlets. I can understand this being done in a third world country. I can understand this being done in a place where modern values don't exist per se, where it's still very traditional. Gender roles are very, staunch and set in place. It it sucks. It really truly does on my part. Like, I mean, but again, like you said, it's all allegation.
All alleged.
It's all alleged. But we also got to take that with a grain of salt. Like we can't, some of it just bad, man.
Well, here's the way I break it. I read it twice, and I came to the same conclusion both times, right? And being a guy like who was a manager, I worked on lots of women, lots of night shifts, lots of staff. Most of my staff are women, especially years ago. So here's the thing: is where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Some of those allegations are so far fetched. Some of them is probably true. He should have known better. Absolutely, shouldn't have done that. If that's what he did, we'll see what comes out in the court. Also, a lot of people don't realize Janelle Grant is her friend originally set that email at the headquarters the first time he retired. Okay, and so now because
she's the hush money girl.
Huh?
She is the hush money girl.
Yeah. Well, there's a few of them.
Well, no, but this is the one. Yeah.
This is the other ones were they didn't say anything because he paid them. He fulfilled his obligation with the NDA. For this one, he didn't fulfill it.
Yeah.
So her friend would obviously Janelle told her, emailed the board or whatever. And they investigated him the first time, and all this money came out over the years, and he resigned, and then he came back again. The thing is that he he had to have known this was going to come out again because it wasn't settled. So he had to know this story was going to pop up. When he didn't know, I even said on one of our old podcasts, when Vince came back as the chairman of the board, it wouldn't last long. They're going to drive him out. He just made the deal. That's why he sold the company. He knew that something like this would happen. He sold it. He made a ton of money. And he just knew that something was going to happen. This is a very smart guy. Now, if what she's saying is true, then yes, he is wrong what he did. He used his power and stuff. He's gonna have to go to the court of law and we'll decide, and we can go from there. But he says he's gonna clear his name. But where there's smoke, there's fire. So,
Well, I mean, there's just too many things that kind of fit into place now, if you think about it, in my opinion. One, Kevin Dunn leaving the company when he did.
mm,
Steph leaving the company when she did. You know, all these kind of little details are kind of
yeah, but I don't buy that Steph stuff because if he, let's just say, the Steph investigated this too, right? So let's just say Steph is disgusted with her dad because he's cheating on her mom. Let's just say that's the case. We don't know. And you're so disgusted with your dad that you can't work for this evil guy, but your husband can. So I find that to be a total crap. And don't forget, after he retired, what did Steph come out and say on SmackDown? Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince. So these dirt sheet riders, 90% are full of crap. If she hated her dad, she wouldn't have came out and said, thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince. Because she knew.
I know.
So,
I'm just saying, like, just trying to piece all
but
of
of
this.
course she's hurt because that's her dad cheating on her mom. I get that. But if what the dirt sheet writers are saying, it makes no sense, then she would have said, Hunter, you are not allowed to work for my dad.
Yeah.
And he would have quit, or then he would have fired him. And there's another bunch of dirt sheet writers saying there is a power struggle between Vince and Triple H. There's no power struggle. He's the boss. Triple H is could be fired in 2 seconds when Vince is the boss. So there's so much untruths. But if he did what he did, she says, and yeah, it's horrible stuff. If it's true, it hasn't been proven.
Well, like I said,
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, the man's going to turn 80, right? And in a lot of ways, you know, you're saying where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, bro, there's been smoke around this guy for decades, you know? Like,
yeah, but a lot of that is jealousy too.
Right, but let's go back to 1992 or 1982 when he was dealing with the Pat Patterson stuff, where they were grooming, there were allegations of sexual assault then there were sexual assault charges in like 1987, 88. And then you had something happen in the 90s, right? Like every decade, there seems to be some controversy.
Yeah, but but we're twisting though. Consensual sex is not assault, right? So sometimes when you get, I'm not talking about Mitchell, but you get a man of power and the girl sleeps with him, she's going to say sexual assault, but you did it willingly. So how is that sexual assault? Now, what she's claiming is that he used, she was vulnerable.
Right.
He used her power, like, if you don't fool with me, kind of hinted at her, I won't give you a job. You're kind of broke.
We've talked about this off the air as well, and yes, we both agree it's consensual. You know, there's denying, and that sucks to say, considering some of the things that she consented to, right? But in reading it fully through and through and through again, I realized that, you know, consensual to what extent? Like, she's afraid of losing her job, she's afraid of this, she's afraid of this, the mental toll. But at the same time, the one thing I will say is, with all the little images, the screenshots, I guess that's what they call them, right? Of all the text messages and stuff. I would like to see her responses more.
That's all going to come out when they go to court.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
So would I.
A lot of what we're seeing is what Vince allegedly said, correct?
And
absolutely.
Whatever what she said back.
Wasn't nice, it wasn't good. Okay. I keep referencing that because I don't want anyone to think that we're condoning any.
No, if what she's alleging is true, we're saying it's horrible, but it's still an allegation. Nothing is proven. He's not found guilty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But through reading through everything, it's obviously it's going to be one-sided, right? It's all against what Vince did this, they did that, this happened, Brock came in, you know, all the stuff that was said about everybody. So I guess, you know, we have to hear the other side of the story, but the longer it takes to hear that side, the harder it is to swallow.
Well, the lawyers have told Vince, you shut your damn mouth. He's got top words. You shut your mouth. We'll deal with this in court. Maybe he'll be found guilty. Hey, I'm harder on anybody. Mike Tyson, he's a piece of garbage. Stone Cold, I call him a piece of garbage all the time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Just because of Mike Tyson was convicted in a court of law of raping a woman, Stone Cold beat the crap out of them. I dog these guys all the time on the podcast. So if Vince, what he did is true. I'll do the same thing for him. It doesn't mean that Mike Tyson is a brilliant boxer, Stone Cold's not a great wrestler. Doesn't mean Vince McMahon is not the greatest motor of all time, the most creative genius. But if he did do what he said, it's got I'll dog him the same way I talk about Tyson and Stone Cold and all these guys.
No, and that's completely fair. And you know what?
Right?
And that's what I respect about you, my friend, is the fact that
Mm-hmm.
you call it like you see it, man. As I always say, you're no nonsense Chance Michaels.
Yeah, I like to call a ball and strike. And I love Vince. He's one of
Yeah.
my favorite things about
And
wrestling.
I'm
I
not
love the guy to
I'm
death.
fine with it, right? I mean, if you think about it, this is another part of my childhood that's being destroyed right in front of my eyes, right? I
Yeah,
mean, Bill Cosby was the TV dad for all of us, sort of a deal.
exactly.
And you know, he's kind of destroyed now. Like a lot of the life lessons that you
Oh, he's
think
done.
you're getting
He's
from the
done.
guy.
Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, all these guys are done.
Well, R. Kelly, whatever, man. You know, Michael Jackson, again, same kind of thing. But I mean, Vince, Vince to me was someone I've watched my whole life.
I look up to the guy. He looks good. He dresses good. He's brilliant. He's got everything you could want in the wrestling world. And he's sucks that this is happening. But if he did do this stuff, then he's an idiot for doing this and treating her like that. And he didn't
No,
need to do any of that.
when I was reading it,
He can
also,
get any woman he wants. He doesn't need to act like that.
no, 100%. While I was reading it as well, you know, the one kind of consensus that I kept coming to was, is Vince separated from the McMahon character, or is this just an extension of
Well,
that?
he said in the text, he said, outside of it, you live isolated and very quiet. Like, which is true. You never see him at award shows or anything. You even see him backstage or he's at home, right?
Yeah, no, but meaning wise, like when he gets into that deviant state, and based on what we read, and you know, we're not going to go into the details of the acts or anything like that.
No,
You just
gross.
you look at when you're reading it, and if you actually close your eyes, you can almost imagine the McMahon character, Mr. McMahon, being that person in that role at the time. And considering some of the things that were written allegedly about how he views different toys and gives them wrestlers' names, you know, like a lot of this aggression and the kind of, you know, behavior that he showed in these allegations that
Mm-hmm.
were described, and the actions that were described, I almost get the sense like, is he trying to live out the McMahon character in this?
No, because most of the characters, the best characters in TV, are just the amplification of yourself. Turn up the volume, kind of Flair, Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock.
Bret
And
Hart.
they're kind of what they are on TV. Off TV, a little more turn up, but they're sort of the same person,
But
right?
what I mean is like Bret Hart never turned it off. He was Bret Hart behind this camera, in front of the camera. Like he literally, you know, Ric Flair, another guy, those two guys lived their roles. You
Absolutely,
know,
Flair still does.
right. But I almost feel with Brett psychologically, and I don't know why I think this all the time when I think of him. He's just one guy that never, like, he constantly lives in kayfabe.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he is the character. That's what he is. Like Macho Man was Macho Man,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There's certain guys like those two guys, different cats.
Right. So like, was McMahon almost caught up in the Mr. McMahon
No,
character?
I don't think so. He's too smart of a businessman. He knew when to turn it on, when to turn it off. I just think he's just a
When you say he's,
sexual animal.
yeah,
If what she's saying is true,
he's a deviant beast, man. Like I mean,
yeah, he's
right?
nobody will ever do what he's done in wrestling. He created the biggest company
No, he
ever.
didn't. Oh no,
Nobody can carry his bags. Nobody in creative will ever carry his bags. He's a genius, and you can see the product now. Is some of these guys like the Rumble was lazy? Well, if Vince was backstage in Gorilla, you wouldn't be working lazy. If you were, you'd be reprimanded. Some of these guys that he cut, Alistair Black, Buddy Matthews, we can go on and on down the line. They were cut for a reason. He didn't see a star calling them. I've noticed something about since supposedly he's not running creative anymore the last whatever 8 months or whatever. You can notice a lot of the AEW style of guys are coming back, and the guys they always say you're a WWE guy, you look like a Vince guy, right? And but a lot they're trying to get away from that. They're going to the littler guy, and that's not going to drive the casual fan. You need guys that look like stars, and that's what I loved about Vince. He appreciated guys that were built, guys that worked hard, guys that take care of their bodies. You see these, that's why he cut a lot of these guys. Look at Hit Row; they came out there with garbage, and people are saying, "Wait a minute, he's always 3 steps ahead." Netflix deal, right? It's
yeah.
sad what he did. If that's what he did, it's a horrible way to go. He'll never come back, even if he's exonerated. He won't ever come back. Ari Man will never come back. He's not the only one. He only owns 11%. He's done.
Well, I mean, I think we've seen the last of McMahon in the WWE, in my opinion. I think
Absolutely, he's done. Yeah,
this was
100%.
it. Like regardless of the outcome, regardless
Think
of
about this, dude. When he retired the first time, he came back 6 months later. He came back because he knew shit, this is probably not going to go away. Let me sell this baby now. And when he sold it, everybody online is like, sell it to Triple H and stuff. They don't even have 10% of the money to buy this company. And why would he give it to them? He is a businessman. He made the best deal possible because he knew what was coming. If this would never happen, I would have sold it to Ari.
No, fair enough, right? Like, I mean, he kind of forced himself
Look
back.
at his contract was ironclad. It said through death or incapacitation. He would have been the chairman of the board till he broke in the chair, but he resigned himself because it was best for business.
He saw, like, the one thing about Vince, regardless of what he might be going through, or what he's dealing with, or what he's created for himself.
Yeah, he created for himself. Absolutely, should have known better.
He basically still does what's right for the business, right?
Every time.
Him resigning, he knew that him sticking around, even though he wants to fight and be stubborn about it, it wouldn't be good for business, right? So
no, and even if Slim Jim paused and they came up paused, but it wouldn't have been Slim Jim. It would have been other things. It would have been more problems going forward. The stock would have went down. It was just he knew.
I mean, Slim Jim was the major promoter or the sponsor for the show, so I think that was enough for him to do it.
Even if somebody didn't do that, he was gonna resign within the next 2 days.
If Slim Jim didn't pull,
people forget. Most of these traders, they didn't read the lawsuit. Ari Emanuel's wife has worked for many, many years under Vince at WWE headquarters. Most people don't know that because these IWC people are complete morons. But I do all the research. Ari's wife has worked for Vince for many, many years in WWE headquarters. So they're tight buddies. Ari said, Vinny, come on, you gotta resign. You're gonna sink the business. Get out of here. And he's like, yeah, you're right, bro. I'm out. I don't want to hurt it. So
look, man, the story's fresh. There's still a lot to happen. Who knows where this is gonna go? I mean,
I think he'll end up selling out of court at the end of the day.
Probably, bro, because like I said, at the end of the day, the allegations were consensual.
Like Puff Daddy did. They just keep paying them off, right?
Right. So, I mean, this is basically it, right? I mean, okay.
No, it's over. He'll never be in
front of call. I don't know how to word this otherwise. The biggest mistake he made, was all the stuff that happened, allegedly.
100%.
If that's the case.
Yep.
But his downfall would have been, in my opinion, and you and I have agreed on this, why did he just pay the rest of the money? And this probably wouldn't have. I know that sounds horrible.
Who's like, you got some of the best lawyers in the world, and your lawyers are gonna let you do that. I don't get what he was doing.
Right.
He brought on himself. But I knew when he sold it that I knew he wouldn't be around long. I just knew that. He made the Netflix deal. He made a couple things. He sold it, got cashed out because he knew they're going to take me down. I'm going to get as much money as I can. And everybody's writing, well, Shane's mad at him. Steph's mad at him. Steph came on to thank you, Vince chat. So this is all, a lot of it's made up. But it's disturbing, some of the stuff he supposedly did.
Look, he did some horrible stuff. But again, it just, until we see the other side of that deposition, it's like I said, we're seeing one side of the story, right?
Yeah.
So the more you read it, the more it's put out into the public. That's all that people are absorbing. And that's what happens with a lot of these cases, is we just keep getting fed this one side.
And a lot of people, especially the newer generation, younger generation, the AW, the IWC crowd, they want this guy gone. They've always wanted him gone. Even prior to this, they don't like a big, strong money man like he is. And they don't like that. They like the Tony Khan, the geeky kind of guys.
No, for sure. All right, brother, man, I tell you what, man. Talked about it. We've shared our thoughts. We shared our opinions. We don't think it's right, but
no, it's not right.
None of it's right. None of anything that was written there is right. None of the acts are right, but they're all allegations. We have to remember that, right?
Until it's proven in court, yeah.
Let's be fair about it. Let's wait for it to play out, and then.
Dude, Stone Cold blocked me on X, Twitter. He's blocked me on Instagram.
Who's that?
Stone Cold. Years ago, because I called him out. There's two things that I don't like about Stone Cold. Number one, he beat up his wife. That's cowardly. But number two, Roddy Piper had an amazing podcast. So Roddy Piper had a Stone Cold impersonator on there.
Yeah.
Stone Cold got pissed off. He got Roddy removed from
that.
Yeah, for that podcast network. So I went on to Twitter and I went on Instagram and said, hey, dude, that was so gutless we did to Roddy Piper. That was all in good fun. Roddy was praising you, but the guy was just talking like you. And you got him kicked off, man. You're gutless. And he blocked me on Instagram and Twitter instantly.
Yeah, that's when they
were. I've been blocked by some of the most. I've been blocked by Oscar De La Hoya, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Matthew Good. Oh man, the list goes on and on. Because I'm not saying anything rude to them. I'm just saying, this is years ago. I tone it down now because of the podcast. But blocked by a few big guys, man. Yeah. Ryback blocked me.
Who?
Ryback.
Well, I don't care. Ryback's a jackass.
Who else blocked me? CM Punk blocked me.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't say anything rude. I just said, hey, man, are you going to the gym today or something? Like that. They read that. I get pissed off. It's
So
having
how
some
do
fun
they
with
block
this.
you?
Huh?
How do you know? I'm not a Twitter guy that much as
Oh,
you.
well, on
X
Instagram,
guy.
okay, you go back to the page that you've been blocked by the person you're following.
Wow, that's crazy,
I
bro.
actually, the article's not online anymore, but actually in 2011, 2010, 2011, I sent a couple tweets to Oscar De La Hoya or whatever. It was nothing rude, just talking with him about Bob Aaron, and then he blocked me.
Oh
But a
wow.
boxing writer picked this up, and he wrote an article on me calling out De La Hoya and De La Hoya being soft skinned. I can't find it online anymore, but all my buddies, everybody's seen it, man.
All
I
right.
don't say anything rude. I never name call. I never say anything rude. I just, I don't do as much anymore. I've had a few.
I think maybe you should. Then we can get some of these guys on
Who
the show.
else? Roger Waters has blocked me.
Hey man, I love Roger Waters.
But I didn't think nothing bad about it. I said, dude, he
What do
said something about David Gilmour. I said, his voice is way better sounding than yours. Block. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. Just having fun with them. They're
Well,
sensitive guys.
I like Roger
Perry
Waters.
Farrell. Perry Farrell blocked me.
From Jane's Addiction?
Yep.
Wow, you're that guy, huh?
Not anymore. I would just say like something like he was out there saying, I got you guys in my scope and I'm going to put all these, basic Christian conservatives in line. And I said, you ain't putting anybody in line. You didn't know what you're talking about. Your new album sucks. Click. You know what I mean? Just having some tongue-in-cheek moments. But
well, Chance, I think now that you have a different X platform to work off of,
I don't do it anymore.
maybe we need to bring no nonsense Twitter X champion Chance.
I'm just trying to think of those are the most famous people that have blocked me that I could think of off the top.
If they're listening, if they're reading what you're saying, then you should say, hey, why don't you come on our show and let's talk about it?
Yeah, there's a guy called Mark Lanigan from Screaming Trees. There's been a few guys over the years that have blocked me. And I like James Mitchell. I think he's an amazing singer. I actually watched him live. He's a great talent.
The things that we learn.
Stone Cold is great too.
Only on Samp and Chance. Okay, Chance, I tell you what, brother man, we have rambled on and on and on, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's like only 5 minutes to me, man. So why don't we
that was a good one.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, don't say what Vince says is horrible, it's bad, it's wrong, allegedly. But he's still the greatest promoter of all time, the greatest creative genius of all time. He created so many things. We can't even list them all. Nobody can carry his bags and creative at any company. Nobody has, nobody ever will. Bottom line.
Everything we see on television, everything that we see on our tablets and our phones, all the streaming things are all, he's a pioneer at every level of it. Closed circuit TV, no one was doing it till he really started pushing it. Once pay-per-view started to become a thing, pay-per-views became a thing because of Vince McMahon. Streaming platforms, people were dabbling in it, but McMahon was the one who actually jumped in head first. And now everyone's doing it, right? So, I mean, he is what he is, but I don't know how people are going to take this, but Mr. Hitler was also considered a genius, but a deviant man. Let's just say that, right? I mean, some of the things that he invented are still being used today. I'm just saying, I'm not making the comparison or not.
Funny that you say that. I was actually listening to a book, one of my Audible books. I listened to lots of books. I probably looked like 15 a year, but it was on Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, all these guys, right? And Hitler had many mistresses, but all the mistresses said he never laid their hands on them. He's a horrible guy, but he never beat them up. He never put his hand on a woman. He was always a gentleman, they said, in that way, but very loving. As far as I know, he's a murderer, but like I'm saying, to the women.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, it's just these kind of genius men have these.
And he tried to kill himself many, many times during the war, but people would talk him out of it.
Yeah, probably. Like I said, these Van Goghs, Vince McMahon type of characters that are just too smart and too creative for their own good have no outlet for their deviance.
There's only one guy still in the game, still running boxing is Bob Arum. He never gets caught up in any of that stuff. He's with his wife. He doesn't play the chick game. He's just more little reserved. You know what I mean? He's not quite like
Bob Arum.
But you'll never hear this about Bob Arum.
But there's a few guys like that, right? I mean, they just focused on their sport, right? I mean,
many is too. The problem with him is chits.
Yeah. All right.
Sad.
Let's wrap it up here, guys. Pals, have a great rest of your week. We'll be back at you guys later this week with some boxing talk and what's going on in the world of boxing. But until then, my name is Bobby Sampson. His name is Mr. Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great AC/DC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. Guys, have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Samp and Chance, out.